Hello people, this is my response to the cunt-faced virgin Ichiban Puroresu on his piece of shit video, When Opinions Do Not Coexist. Actually no, he's a really good user. I think everyone should check him out. He's not really a cunt-faced virgin. Well, he's not cunt-faced, but and his video is quite good, so everyone go check that out. Subscribe to him if you aren't already. If you don't, you're a prick. But he made this really good video. A lot of what he said I've agreed with. I agreed with, and I've experienced or I've noticed in the past on certain forums. You know, and basically the topic of the video. Sorry, I'm choking on my own rage. The topic of the video is Dragon Gate and USA indie fans versus, the Puroresu internet forum plays, which basically means the really, really knowledgeable Japanese pro wrestling fans who I wouldn't say are elitist, but are very harsh critics of everything. And I've, dealt with them in the past. I may have even been one in the past. Not really bad, but go check out the video to really find out more because, but he wanted me to do a video response. He said, I'm hoping for video responses from these people especially. T-Slay 1974, Dinosaur Avenger 1989, Nonorama 26. That's not my Ichiban Puroresu impersonation because it just isn't. But he basically in the comment, in the description said, fuck, I'm rambling. He didn't say that, but he said, what I want to know from you is, where do you see yourself as fans? Are you fans of the indies style? How do you appraise matches? Do you think guys like Ibushi, Doi, Richards, Omega, Tyler Black, etc., basically internet darlings, are grossly overrated? Do you feel they are unfairly treated? Is it fair to criticize promotions like ROH, PWG, Dragon Gate, USA, etc., as being too heavily focused on moves, near fall, spamming, and spots? I'll basically just start from the stop. Where do I see myself as fans? I guess it's kind of I'm not saying he's trying to say, oh, which one are you? You got to be one or the other, because it's not a mutually exclusive thing for me. I'm a fan of pretty much every wrestling style, some more so than others, but I mean, if it's wrestling, I'll most likely enjoy it. Whether I enjoy it or not is if it's well done. And I'll touch on that a bit later on when it comes to how do you appraise matches, because that really will explain what I mean by if it's well done. Are you a fan of the indie style? Yes, I am, just like I'm a fan of most styles. I'm probably less pedantic about how I see, I'm basically just going to go into how do you appraise matches. So, how do you appraise matches? I'm less pedantic about what I see and how I critique it. Ichiban Puroresu himself has a percentage system which is ludicrous. I don't know how he can do that. I myself do the star rating system. I find it much easier because I just give a rough star rating, and then I'll think about the match and go, I didn't really like this. But most of it is entertainment value. And then in hindsight, I start to really chisel away to a more refined star rating, so to speak. The 5 stars isn't like I give a match 5. Matches don't start at like 5 stars and then work their way down, or vice versa. They don't start at 1 star and then work their way up. I just watch the match and then go, I enjoyed it a bit, so 2.5 stars, or maybe 3 stars if I enjoyed it quite a bit. Then I'll say, well, I didn't really like this aspect of the match and what they were doing here. This booking didn't make sense. The crowd wasn't into it, so I'll take about half a star off maybe because of that. So, I mean, it might seem a bit pedantic to some actually, but to me, it's just how I work things. I can't really give very accurate things, but for the most part, I just look at what the workers were trying to accomplish with their match, and whether or not they accomplished it. If they're trying to put a lot of psychology into a match, then they get extra points if they do it well. If they aren't doing that, then I can't, or not even attempting to do that. I mean, it hurts the match sometimes, but I really just try to see it as they're not attempting it, so it's not something that's really required. I mean, it does hurt star ratings at the end of the day, because sometimes these, I think narratives are important. I don't think they're the be all and end all. But if you look at my CW star ratings, a lot of the time the matches don't have strong storytelling in them. They're just very violent, and they don't get the full marks because of that. Like, if the equivalent to a 4.5-star match in CCW would probably be like 3 3/4, or maybe even 4 for a match that I thought was the tippy top of deathmatch wrestling without much psychology. If that makes any sense. So it's just a matter of seeing what the workers or the bookers or the road agents want to accomplish with the match, whether the workers accomplished it, etc. It's like all kinds of art. You look at a movie, you say, what were they trying to accomplish? Did they accomplish it or not? If they didn't, why they didn't, and talk about that. Though I probably don't do it as much in video. I don't speak about it as much in videos as I probably should, mostly just because I don't have the time, but I've got 15 minutes now, so it's not so bad. Do you think guys like Ibushi, Dory, Richards, Omega, Tyler Black, etc. are grossly overrated? I think some are, and I think some aren't, and I think the ones who are usually are because they are fan favourites, and people, as you put it, Ichiban Puroresu, have a negative response to that. They respond to it with a great deal of negativity to kind of counteract someone else's positivity. And the guys who are legitimately good, who are legitimately talented, I feel, often get and I guess this would touch on the next question, kind of get grouped in with the guys who aren't, who are overrated, which leads me to the question, do you feel they are unfairly treated? And as I said with the last question, some are and some aren't. Some guys I just don't get. I don't get what people like in them. For the most part, I can see what people like in them, and at the end of the day, it's not really about what I like in a worker. I guess it's about what the fans like, because it's about money. It's a business. So when fans complain about someone getting pushed and being overrated and all that kind of stuff, I kind of just don't get it. If the fans of a certain promotion want to see someone pushed, if they're behind the guy, it doesn't really matter whether he's a good worker or not, as long as the fans enjoy it, or that certain fan base enjoy it. You can't try to appeal to people who aren't within that fan base, or you can, but you might be wasting your time. You got to be really cautious with that kind of thing. And is it fair to criticize promotions like Ring of Honor, PWG, Dragon Gate USA, etc.? So that would be like groups like Chikara, maybe CZW, etc., etc. As being too heavily focused, you've already said, etc. As being too heavily focused on moves, near fall, spamming, and spots. That's a bit harder. I mean, I don't necessarily criticize them for that unless it's done poorly. If it's done well and I enjoy it, then I don't really criticize it. And a lot of the promotions that do it can do it well. I think Ring of Honor's actually improved on what they used to do. I think it used to be a lot worse, where that would go on for too many matches on a card for too long, and because of that, it would hurt the show as a whole. Now they don't do it as badly. They've some other problems have developed, but they don't do that specific thing as badly. I mean, it still happens, but it depends on how much they're doing it, and how it affects the show as a whole that I'm watching, or the match itself. Because when you do that, you can hurt a match, and a lot of it just comes down, in the end, for me, as how did I enjoy it? I can enjoy a match with strong ring psychology, perfect ring psychology, etc. Good storytelling. I keep saying etc. Good storytelling, all that jazz. As much as a match which just has two guys hitting each other with sharp glass objects. And of course, at the end of the day, I might give the match with better psychology more stars, but I don't really take too much away from the match where it's just two guys stabbing each other in the face with a bottle. And as I said, because of that, it just comes down to what do the fans want, really, and did they enjoy it? Did I enjoy it? What were the workers trying to accomplish? And sometimes I, do go a bit off my nut at matches that do stupid things in trying to tell a story. An example of that, I really didn't like Raven versus Tommy Dreamer. They were trying to tell a story, and they did the whole bleeding in front of Tommy Dreamer's kids. Didn't really like it. Thought it was a bit classless, and it really hurt the match for me and made me not enjoy it. So that can happen. And sometimes putting a story into a match might make it a bit boring. And I don't want to sound like a mark or anything, but it's true. Sometimes an overemphasis on ring psychology can slow a match down to the point where it's not entertaining. And sometimes you can have matches that are just so full of spots that it doesn't make any sense. Often with lucha, I find that is a problem for me to get into it. I don't typically watch AAA. I just can't get into it. A lot of it because it's more angle based than my preferred promotion, which is CMLL. And I feel that CMLL probably does a better job with psychology, but that doesn't do a good job compared to, say, Japan and North America, the United States. I mean, if that makes any sense. I mean, and that's just from my limited exposure. I don't sit down and watch lucha every day, so I might be wrong about those two promotions, but that's just what I've noticed. In what I've watched, it might be quite different in reality, so don't rip me to shreds on that. But yeah, that's about all I have to say about that. I mean, I can't sit down and watch the same thing all the time. I'm a fan of everything. I like to mix things up. I can't watch Puroresu. I can't watch Noah shows all the time. I can't watch Big Japan shows all the time. I can't watch CW shows all the time. I can't watch Chikara shows all the time. I can't watch Ring of Honor shows all the time. I can't watch WWE all the time. I can't watch TNA all the time. The only reason I'm still a wrestling fan is because I'm watching different things. There are different things that appeal to me in all the major promotions that I watch. And if there's nothing that really appeals to me in a certain group that I can't get somewhere else, I'm not going to follow it as much. So, yeah, that's kind of that, I suppose. Hope this helped you out, Ichiban Puroresu, and hopefully it wasn't too boring for my subscribers. Thanks for watching. Go fuck yourself.